Alright, so hi out there in the YouTube land. It is me, again, the Puzzle Master, and this is the third video in the 12-part series that is this one is titled, How to Deal with Gemini. So, if you are a Gemini, this is mainly going to be put in your perspective and about how you perceive the world. So if this is someone of another sign, you could maybe still gain some knowledge and information about this sign, but it's mainly geared towards from the perspective of Gemini. Now, Gemini it's the first air sign, and it is ruled by Mercury, which is the god of communication. So we have to keep these things in mind when they all combine together. So, and it's a mutable sign. So, because it goes cardinal, fixed, mutable, and it repeats that throughout the whole wheel. And by being mutable, that means that it is highly adaptable to change and to being able to respond to different situations and being able to hold their own throughout those changes and being able to adapt to different situations. By being an air sign, that means that they are all more about of the earth, air, fire, and water signs. Air tends to be the most detached or kind of emotionally removed, a little bit more logical. So depending on if you have this as your sun sign, you can be very talkative and outwardly expressed. If this is your moon sign, then it would be a little bit more inward, but kind of your mind races. Because you're being ruled by Mercury, the god of communication, you will kind of have a bit of gift to the gab. Now, this will depend on your Mercury placement very strongly. Much like any other sun sign. Like if you're an Aries, you want to look at where Mars is, because it's going to kind of ricochet to there. If you're a Taurus, then you want to look at your Venus sign, because it's very important. Now, for Gemini, you want to look at Mercury, because that's its ruling planet. So, for myself, I have Mercury conjunct my moon sign in Mercury. I have the planet Mercury conjunct my moon sign in Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury. So that's supposed to help with this kind of communicational things. And Gemini it rules over friendship. Now, a lot of people, even other astrologers out there, like Alyssa and a bunch of them, you know who I mean, the best ones anyway, they tend to... Gemini is a little bit fickle. So even though they rule over friendship, they don't necessarily take friendship so seriously. Because friendship is something that just comes naturally in their nature, it's very hard for them to consider friendship they're fickle. They're very changeable in their nature. And they have kind of 1,000 faces, meaning they might, depending on the day, they could be a whole, of all of the signs, they have the most kind of changeable nature, where it can be somewhat unexpected, different, just they're like Jekyll Hyde, they can be all over the place. Now, being ruled by Mercury, this is kind of like the car salesman of the zodiac, so they have the ability to talk about the pros and the cons, and they can speak about an image and try to sell it and they will do this, especially if they're things that they are interested in. You'll notice that they try to sell you them, sell you ideas, sell you ways of thinking, but at the same time they can be very sporadic. So you might be you're talking about world peace and harmony, but yet you're talking about the world exploding and fire and doom. It can be a little bit bipolar in its nature, because it is the twins. There is the good twin and there is the bad twin. And they constantly flicker back and forth, like a television screen, just flashing from image to image. And as a Gemini individual, my moon is Gemini, so if anyone out there watching has the Gemini moon, I can relate to the aspect where your mood can shift extremely quickly. And sometimes it can be overwhelming, because even though you're a mutable sign and you can adapt to situations, that also means that you take on the emotions and the influences of the surrounding environment that you're in. And by being instantly affected by those things, you can shift and change so dynamically that you kind of question your own fundamental like root of like, who am I? Like if you're going through all these shifts, it can be a little bit confusing in the world. And typically, Gemini really likes to read. They are all about communication and social networking. If you have this as your sun sign, you might be a little bit known for being a little bit too talkative, a little bit too much for other people. But if that is your moon sign, then the same things can be basically internalized so that your mind is always thinking. And yeah, I think that kind of sums up Gemini. Just know that like if you're a Gemini, that you come off on like a day-to-day basis as a different person depending on like your mood, and that not that you should try to change yourself, because you should be true to yourself. And I'm telling you that if your personality shifts from day to day, so be it. And you dress in accordance and you act in accordance to your true self. Like, don't worry if you have like a pre-molded conception of how you should be, but you don't feel like that day. Don't fucking worry about it. If it throws people off and they're all like, whatever, well, that's you. And if they have a hard time dealing with that, then c'est la vie. Like, but know that like of all the like thousands of personas that Gemini has, being like ruled by like diversity and like differences and friendship and all of the connections that are in the world, so like telecommunication and the internet and texting, all of these things that have to do with communication has to do with Mercury, which is its ruling element. So yeah, keep all those things in mind when we're talking about Gemini. And I'll see you in my next video. We'll just wrap it up. And so yeah, so if you're dating a Gemini or something and they're like seem different, like as long as like you are there to be like their rock, something that can keep them like centered in this world, that is very important. So if you can handle their extreme mood shifts from 0 to 100 in like half a second, compared to no other sign is really known for having such a quick ability to shift mood. If you can handle that and be their rock, then know that they will, especially like if you're a Gemini moon or Gemini watching this, sun sign, then you'll probably like find that of a good redeeming character trait in other people. If someone can actually be centered, secure, and stable. Because you, in your mind, if this is your moon, can just be all over the place. So it can help to have someone to ground you and bring you some centeredness.
And that's kind of something you pick up after 5 or 6 years of dating a Gemini. So, you know, if you are dating one, just, you know, hold through it. It'll make sense to you after a while.
Yeah. So we got a little Tristan interjection there. So, mwah. And we'll see you in the next video. Please like this, share this, and if you're new to my channel, subscribe and check out my other videos, because I'm going to be making more of how to deal with all the other signs after this one. So, bye.